Hey guys, welcome back to Main Street Living. Ladies, the pandemic has definitely touched us all, putting many people in situations they never dreamed they would be in. Of course, not knowing, like where they were going to get food for themselves or even their families.
I know it's so scary. And a group in San Diego is helping families bridge the gap by bringing together the resources and kindness of the community. So please welcome Carissa Casares from Feeding San Diego. Thanks so much for joining us today on Main Street Living.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about Feeding San Diego. I know your mission sounds clear from your name, but you are different from a traditional food bank, aren't you?
Yes, we are, and we're very proud of that. And we're actually we refer to ourselves as a hunger relief organization versus a food bank, and that's because instead of bringing all the food to one central location, we work with a huge decentralized network of people and organizations to help get food out into the community. And we do that primarily by rescuing food. We're working with big brands like Target and Costco and taking that food that just for whatever reason might not be able to be sold, whether it's surplus or slightly imperfect for the, general consumer. And we are just redistributing that to people in need. So our partners go directly oftentimes to those stores in our community to pick up this food. And so our system is really decentralized. However, we're the hub, we're the connector, Feeding San Diego is, and that's why we talk about hunger relief in that way. And so our mission is really at the end of the day to connect every person facing hunger with nutritious meals by maximizing food rescue. So as much as possible, we're using that food rescue model.
Wow.
And I have to imagine that mission became a lot more difficult when the pandemic hit in 2020. You guys had to make a big adjustment in how you operate just based on the enormous need that rose out of that. How did you guys pivot?
Yeah, we've been talking about, if you're facing hunger during a pandemic, it's a crisis within a crisis. So we were all presented with this public health crisis, but people, who are facing hunger before, and even people who were newly experiencing hunger because of the economic downturn, because of the pandemic, it was just, a double hitter, So our organization, primarily we used to do farmers market style distributions, and we love to have people come up and be able to select, items that they might want. We want people to be able to choose their food in a dignified way. However, when the pandemic hit, we had to really pivot, and all of our distributions now are contactless and drive-through, which we've learned so much from doing this new method with our partners who, execute them, and then we execute our own food distribution. So we want our neighbors in need to be safe. And so we're still doing that method, but it was definitely a new learning curve of how to, figure out the flow of traffic and get a number of cars through a space to get them that food. We also did have to rely more on purchased food. We had to purchase so much more food to meet this demand and to supply more food to our partners. However, we're very proud that we still, since March 2020, we were still able to rescue over 70% of our food. Prior to that, it was over 90%. So there's just a small difference, but we did have to rely more on purchased food to get it out to people in need.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot to handle there. And Feeding San Diego is hosting the Together Tour all around San Diego County. So what are those events like?
Yeah, so this is a response, from our organization, a direct response to really have our own food distributions. Essentially, the way that decentralized network works that I told you guys about earlier is that we work a lot with our partners to host the distributions, but we saw some gaps, and we saw, hunger hotspots, and we wanted to do something bigger to really, affect all those facing hunger. So the Together Tour is a series of large-scale distributions, takes place around the county, and these serve upwards of 1,000 people, no less than probably 500 at a time. And we've worked with partners like Legoland and North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, Pachanga Arena, San Diego, and they allow us to just, get all these cars through their parking lot. And there's, 3 different stations. There's a dry goods station, a produce, and there's a frozen meat protein. And we have amazing volunteers that help us set up. It's really organized. That's the feedback we get a lot from, people who are driving through, that it's very easy and organized, and, people can just drive right on through and get about 50 pounds of food placed in the car by our volunteers.
Wow.
And there's no requirements for them to come. These are open to anyone in need of food assistance.
And that's so great, because especially in a time of crisis, it's hard to ask for help. And I'm sure that there's a lot of more people that are experiencing food insecurity over the past year, maybe for the first time. Have you seen it grow in the last year?
Yeah, we have. We definitely are. On average, we're serving about 700,000 more meals per month, which is a big jump to serve hundreds of thousands more meals. We're seeing people still now in June. I know we're approaching reopening, but I just spoke to a woman at one of our distributions last week, and she told me that, she had 2 jobs before the pandemic, and still now she's only been asked back to 1 and still very part-time. So, everyone's story is different, and we see headlines and we think, oh, things are getting better, but this has exacerbated socioeconomic, inequalities that just really make it difficult for people to have reliable income or afford the cost of living here in San Diego. So we always say asking for help isn't easy, but it's a brave thing to do. And we just want to be a source for anyone who, could use a helping hand.
Yeah, and that's true. I think for all issues, asking for help, no matter what you're dealing with or battling, and it's so important. And we've heard the phrase, we're all in this together, a lot over the past year. But is it your mission for all of us to care about our neighbors? How can our viewers help the mission?
Yes, I love this question, because we can't do it without our community. Our staff, is small but mighty, and we work hard every day, but we need our volunteers. We need our community rallying around us to help solve this problem. So I think, there are different ways to give. You can give your time in terms of volunteering. We have a lot of different volunteer opportunities. You can volunteer at a Together Tour distribution. It's great fun. You get to wear a safety vest and run around a parking lot, get your steps in, and just, make some great connections with other volunteers and, our neighbors in need that are driving through. We have amazing, quick conversations of thanks so much and have a great day. And, you can definitely start a day with that.
So Carissa, a lot of great information, obviously. Where can people find more information about the Together Tour, either to sign up for food or to donate or even to volunteer?
Yeah, our website, feedingsandiego.org, is a wonderful resource, whether you want to give help or get help. So I would send anyone who wants to learn more about our mission, how we work, our decentralized network, or get involved, to head there.
And you are all doing such amazing work for the community. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you guys for shining a light on our mission.
All right, such great news. And we have more news coming up. This time we're talking about your water supply. You don't want to miss it.